Hello everyone, welcome to Officer 24/7. My name is Niharika Walia Bhatnagar and I'm with you with the area of AFM, Accounting and Financial Management for Bankers. So everyone, what are we talking about today? Let's look at that specific area altogether. Budget and budgetary control. What is the fundamental difference between zero-based budgeting, ZBB, and conventional budgeting, everyone? Zero-based budgeting is and conventional budgeting. See, under conventional budgeting now, you and I will talk that this happened in the market. This is supposed to happen in the market. These are the trends that has been there in the market for so long. We talk about all these things. When we talk about these things, that's one of the basics that happen in the market. Now, if we talk about the specific area of conventional budgeting, you will say increase things by 10%, increase things by 20%. That's all we need to do, right? You will define that on the previous basis we can take up things. What if those previous bases are no more usable? They are no more utilizable. They are no more required. All these things can also happen. Market changes, dynamics changes, things changes altogether. Can I say that the things that were there earlier would go in the same way today as well? Probably not. If it won't be the same right now, so isn't it required that I prepare entirely new budget? We call this as zero-based budgeting. ZBB and conventional budgeting. Conventional budgeting means the budgeting technique which is old, which is based upon the prior assumptions. Done. ZBB starts from scratch without referring to the part. Conventional budgeting relies on the previous budget figures. Both ANB or ZBB incorporates a percentage increase from the previous year budget. When we talk about this specific topic, under ZBB and conventional budgeting, how do we specify? ZBB starts from scratch without giving a reference to the past. We don't even talk about the past at all. Done. So let's look at the next topic. In zero-based budgeting, what is the premise behind justifying every rupee of expenditure? Premise means these are not those premises that we work on, right? This is basically the premise here, which is an assumption. There are certain things that you and I will assume to be the same. To maintain consistency with the past spending patterns, to accommodate automatic incorporation of the previous year's expenditures, or to evaluate the necessity and the value of each expense, or to increase the budget allocation without constraints. What's going to be the answer? Zero-based budgeting, what is the premise behind it? Okay. When we talk about the premise behind justifying every rupees, the past is no more required. The point is the past spending patterns is not there anymore. At this point of time, the most important thing that comes is to evaluate the necessity of each expense. In the past, it was there. Maybe it was necessary at that point of time. What if it is not required anymore today? Don't we need to go through the changes then? The past is past. It's there for a reason. And it will remain there for a reason too. So in this case, the previous assumptions are all scrapped. So if the previous assumptions are all scrapped, we need to look into the future. Right? Chaliye. what concept of does the zero-based budgeting depart from compared to conventional budgeting? Under conventional budgeting, you say what was the expense in the last year? Acha, it was this much, then probably this year will be a little higher than this. That's the basic maths they do. In this case, the mathematics changes. In this case, we talk about it that things can change. Right? Things don't remain the same. That is to be covered under this. So incremental budgeting, historical budgeting, strategic or long term. In this case, it is the incremental budgeting. That whatever the value was for the last year, it would be slightly more than the previous years. That kind of consent that we give to each other is to be covered in this area. Right? Done. What is the primary characteristic of zero-based budgeting according to SEMA London? SEMA is basically the Institute of Costs and Cost Management. So this is a very reputed organization. It refers to the historical budget data. It requires fresh rationale for each program inclusion. It automatically incorporates previous year budgets or focuses solely on budget objectives. When we talk about ZBB or zero-based budgeting, it requires fresh rationale for each inclusion. ZBB says that whatever was there in the past, it is in the past for a reason, that it is no longer usable. So find something which is usable. That is the basic aim of this particular process, everyone. Got the idea? So in this case, it is only and only it requires whatever the previous assumptions were, they were all wrong. For example, whatever the particular trend was before COVID, that trend is now gone. The requirements, the things, whatever they were, that thing is gone now. Earlier, it was definitely not there. Now, it has definitely changed over the period of time. Right? They have looked forward towards fresh rationale. Matlab, whatever assumptions were pre-COVID era, that was different. But after COVID, the things went more towards internet. Now things are more towards the basics of internet, and earlier they weren't. So those basic things happened. Now, what is the main focus of program budget? Everyone? The program budget can be said to be historical spending patterns, or detailed insight into specific activities, or overall organizational objectives, or maximizing profits. What's going to be the answer? In this case, I think program budget is basically the budget which is applicable only on one specific area. So it is detailed insight into specific activities. I created a program for a launch that is to be done recently. So if the launch is to be done recently or in a little day or two, then it is to be considered here, na? That is why program budget is specifically related to one specific area. For example, if I say it is related to the area of a budget related to, say, the budget is related to the specific purpose of launching of a product. If I'm launching a new product and the market is absolutely astonished about it, so then that would be considered here, na? To set the direction of the for the organization. So that is covered in their program. Now the next question is, what is the purpose of budgetary control? See, if I look at the budget, I saw there's something happening bad in the budget. There are certain glitches, there are certain tweaks which are required to set the direction for the organization, to coordinate various functions within the organization, to monitor actual achievements against set targets, to prepare budgets from scratch. In this case, the answer would be to monitor actual achievements against the set targets. That is to monitor actual achievement against the set targets. Then monetary control, see, budgetary control is trying to control whatever bad is happening. Whatever is not beneficial for us or whatever is happening is not as per our requirement. And next point, which type of budgeting starts with planning? The planning exercise from scratch without relying on the previous achievements. We're not even looking at what we had in the previous times. Functional budget, fixed budget, flexible or zero-based budgeting. Zero-based budgeting doesn't even care about what was there in the past. Functional budget is based upon only the selling price, only the purchase price based. And fixed budget is basically the budget which talks about one specific amount of activity. It doesn't talk about the entire organization, but on a specific note they are talking about. Flexible budgets are those budgets which keeps on changing with the change in the output. ZBB or zero-based budgeting is that kind of budgeting which talks about the previous assumptions have to be left behind. We are talking about absolutely new way of working which affects the organization. That is ZBB. Next point, budget is a plan expressed in monetary terms, physical units only, both money and physical units, neither money terms or nor the physical units. Everyone? Budget is a plan expressed. See, budget is a plan which can be expressed in both the areas. If it's a production budget, I'll talk about the production area. I'll talk about how much is being produced. You know? That is to be covered in this specific area altogether. Then budgetary plans are the plans which can be blended into anything. They can be based upon the present number of units. It can be based upon the future budgets that we are, the present number of units we are looking at. We're looking at the monetary value that we are getting in the future there. है ना? So I will go for both money terms as well as the physical units. The budget in which each of the constituent part needs fresh rationale for its inclusion in that year's budget is known as flexible budget, performance budget, ZBB or none. Fresh rationale, everyone. That means the previous rationales weren't really good or they aren't to be used. So in this case, the answer is going to be zero-based budgeting. Zero-based budget. That means the previous budgets have to be set aside. Whatever they meant, whatever they were in the past, and that's why they should be left behind. Done? Everyone, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, then please hurry up and subscribe to the channel right away, because time is taking away, and obviously we're coming up with more and more resources and more classes based upon our examination. So please be actively involved in our courses so that you can get all the particular content, whatever is for paid, whatever is for free, at the right time. How does a flexible budget accommodate changes in activity level? by keeping costs fixed regardless of the change in activity, by recognizing only the variable cost, by adjusting cost for any level, or by ignoring differences between the fixed, semi-fixed and semi-variable cost. Everyone, variable and semi-variable. It has just been called semi-fixed, but it is actually the variable costing. See, one part is always varying, one part is always fixed, and one part is always something which can vary slightly. Not completely, but slightly it can vary and slightly it can be fixed. This kind of thing is to be considered here. है ना? Done. चलिए. How does the flexible budget accommodate in the activity level? Flexible budget says that we can work at different levels. We won't work at one particular level. By keeping fixed costs fixed regardless of change in activity, it changes if I'm producing 10,000 units, then I produce 20, then I produce 30. Or by recognizing only the variable cost, if you're recognizing only the variable, that means you are leaving one particular part altogether, which is definitely not correct. Isn't it, everyone? So in this case, what's going to be the answer? That is by adjusting the cost of level of activity. Done? Next point. How is the fixed budget typically established in the terms of time frame? Fixed budgets have one specific unit which is defined. Everything has been defined in advance, right? In terms of for a short period where actual and budgeted are expected to differ, for a long period to accommodate potential change, or for a specific output level without considering changes, or for a flexible time frame. What's going to be the answer, everyone? When we talk about the how flexible budget, now fixed budget is based upon the same thing for a given point of time because things change when the timing changes. So in this case, the correct answer is going to be for a specific planned output level without considering any changes. You don't consider a single change, but you just say that these things are going to be the same over the period of time. Chali everyone, that's it for the day. I hope this session was useful for you. If this was, then please go ahead and check out our website or our app. The time is ticking away, everyone. I hope you are looking forward towards our classes. And if you are, then I think it's the best time. If you're planning, then you should hurry up and check out our website or our app for further details. Let's go on to the website there, everyone. Just open up Adda 24/7. As soon as you go on to the specific area, you will find it in the JAIIB and CIB area. Look in the area of JAIIB and CIB. This is where you will find our courses. in the specific area of JIB and CIB. JIB May 2024 batches are there. If you're planning, you just need to use the code Y541 and you can get our Mahapack at double validity, everyone. Just go ahead and use the code Y541 and apply it. You'll get it for 6298.95. So if you're planning for it, then hurry up and check it out on our website. And